Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Indy back at you with another video lesson. So, today, um, this really shows why we trade these penny stocks, and today was one of those opportunities where, the OTC market, I guess for the last few days, has been a little bit slower. Um, and I had missed a play last week on Friday, but I told myself if an opportunity like this shows up again soon, I'm not going to miss that opportunity. So we're just going to look at the daily chart here on OZSC. Now, this is a stock that I traded, way back when on this day. During this time when it ran from about 1 cent all the way up to 5 cents. Made some good money on that, but you can kind of see, the trend in, penny stocks in general right now is these beaten down stocks are starting to bottom out, consolidate. You can see all this like steady action right here, and then they're starting to push to the upside. Now, the cool thing about OZSC was that, there has been a lot of rumors about the stocks. And that's the thing about these penny stocks is that we don't need, any sort of real company, real revenues or anything like that. It's just like, can this stock get enough hype to start to push to the upside? And you can see in these 3 days, I mean, look at the volume it's doing relative to all these days right here where it was consolidating. You know what I mean? So all in all, it's important to get a good picture of the big overall theme of this move. Now, this is a trade that, let's see, I try to trade this out of the open. Now, this thing was setting up because it had a very strong close on a strong close yesterday, which is this day right here. If you look at the daily chart, this day right here was the previous day. So it closed pretty strong. It's continued to push to the upside or whatever. And there's rumors about the company being, partnered with Tesla or Tesla being a buyer of the company or whatever. So that's what the entire run-up is basically due to. Now, right before the market opens, the company, actually 2 seconds after the market opened, the company announced the news. So they said, hey, we have like this partnership with a company called Wesco or something like that, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, there's like a bunch of news that the company has been saying is going to be coming out. But when the company announces the news right out of the open, you get this huge kind of sell-off or whatever, and I was expecting a sell-off, but more of a dip and then like a nice rip because it's a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. So this stock could have continued to run today right out of the open, or even like just straight morning spike. But because they put the news out, then, the hype kind of faded or whatever, and people sold off on the news, right? So the next thing I'm looking at is that, this thing starts to uptrend and starts to hold up. And you see it make a nice move from, all the way down here, 2.3 cents, all the way up to 3.1 cents. Now, I didn't chase any of this move. I wasn't really ready for it. I wasn't watching for it. But then once it started to come down towards VWAP, and it started to hold towards VWAP, I'm like, all right, now this is getting kind of interesting because, you have a stock that completely washed out of the open, but now it's, getting towards the middle of the day and it's holding above VWAP. So I took an entry, right here at this 2.8 level, basically saying, all right, it's holding VWAP. It's having some nice consolidation, sideways price action. So I'm going to take, a starter entry right here. Not full size or anything like that, but what I didn't even realize is that, actually, I'll get into that later. But anyway, so I took my entry right there, and then, right around 3 cents, I was starting to see, which is right here, I started to see like a lot of size on the ask. So I was up, I guess a good amount because I had added to my position, right here. So right here, on this arrow, I was full size. And then we got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles in a row and huge size at 3 cents. So I took off some of my size just to be sure, just to lock some in. But I had 200,000 shares on my initial entry. So I'm still working around that core. When I got to full size, I was willing to recycle the last third of that position, which is an extra 100,000 shares. So I sold some of that, but then during this consolidation right here, which is during this consolidation right here, I started to add to my position because the thing is just, it's starting to hold up and it's getting close to high of day. So high of day is this top line right here, right? And we're kind of trading in this channel between, high of day and this 2.9 level. So as it's starting to hold up, as it's starting to show true support in this 2.9 level, I add back that 100,000 shares. And then the whole time, and this is the thing about trading, I'm knowing that this thing is setting up for a nice run, but it's about being able to adapt to different plays in different markets. Like I want to be able to hit my morning OTC plays right out of the open and make 20, 30, 40%. But if it's not there, then I've got to look to other ways of getting my money, So anyway, the whole time I'm just waiting. I'm like, yo, can we please just get a break past high of day? Because I know that if we can get a break past high of day, which is this line right here, then something big can happen. And then that was right when I hopped on Twitter to see what people were saying about OZSC. And I saw that the company tweeted basically saying that, hey, we are working with Tesla, which is absolutely huge. Tesla's the biggest company, the hottest stock in the entire market right now. So that gave me even more confidence that this was going to break to the upside. Once it broke past, once it broke past high of day, which is right here, I took another entry right at high of day, right here before this big volume surge right here. I sold, and I'm still keeping my same 250,000 shares from, back here at, still keeping my same 250,000 shares at this right here, but the extra 100,000, I'm using that and I'm recycling those. So and what that allows me to do is to keep the majority of my average down here at my good entry, but to also lock in profits and take advantage of dramatic moves in price. So I'm taking an entry right here. I sell into this pop up here. I buy again on this dip. I'm selling into this pop right here, and just completely taking advantage of the volatility of this stock. After a while, I stopped recycling, and every single pullback, I'm just adjusting my risk to the previous low. And this play was setting up so nicely that, it goes back to something I talk about all the time. It's not about, I was down $600 before this play, but it's like, can you keep your emotions in check and continue to execute even when you're down? You know what I mean? Because if you can't, and I walk away from the computer and I give up, then I miss out on this great play. So then you got this low right here. All right. So now if it fails that low, I'm going to cut my losses. Yeah. Then you got another low. Every single low is just a little bit higher than the previous low. So I have no reason to sell. Another low right here, another low right here, another low right here. By this time, I'm up close to $3,000 on my position. And this play is just setting up perfectly, right? Now, something I talk about a lot in these late day OTC runners is that when you got a stock that is just continually, just like CLWD last week, is just making, parabolic moves in price, it's like, all right, once it starts to change its trend and it starts to go sideways instead of this straight uptrend, look at this. For, I guess that is 30 minutes, the stock goes completely vertical. And you can see that on this trend. Once it starts to break that trend right here and it starts to go sideways in this area, I'm knowing a huge dip is going to come. So I try to get out of my shares right here in this sideways action, but my software froze or whatever, and I ended up having to get on my phone and sell right here. So I would have been good. I would have locked in $3,000 on this trade, but instead I had to settle for $2,000 in profit. I kind of scalped it around, made like a couple $100 in this action right here. But, you know, majority of my money was made on this move right here, all the way from down to 2.8, scaling in, recycling, and, you know, taking advantage of this huge move right here. But this trend reversal right here, when it starts to reverse from upward action to sideways action, is something that is a major key in these huge OTC runners. And I had to settle for selling my position right here. So this is just huge risk reward, and it goes back to, you know, why I don't have any, you know, why I'm not worried about being down on the month previous before, because it was like a few $100s. But when you capitalize on and you scale in on these great trades and stuff like that, it's like, you know, one win can be 4 or 5 times your biggest loss on the month. And that's exactly what happened here. A $2,000 trade, my largest loss was probably $400 or $500. That's what it's about. It's about risk reward. It's about keeping those losers smaller and making sure that when setups come around, you can maximize on those setups and scale in and actually use some size and stuff like that. So yeah, basically the key takeaway of this is, you know, you got to look at the daily chart. You got to be checking Twitter, honestly, to see why these things are starting to run, why things are starting to move. Because a little bit of hype, like a Tesla rumor or the company hyping up a Tesla rumor, can start to, you know, make a company have parabolic moves in price. Another thing is that, you know, you got to scale into these winners. You know, back in the day, this would have been only like a $1,000 or $500 trade for me. But as you get more comfortable, you know, you can start to scale into your position, get some feelers early on, and then add as, you know, the market, as your play confirms. And then when you get huge parabolic moves like this move right here, sell some shares into that, not all of it, and then buy back on a higher low. Sell some more shares up here when you get a nice move and buy back at a higher low. But you can also keep your core entry, which is basically this level right here where I initially bought my shares. Keep the majority of your average here, and then, you know, just keep recycling on the way up, and then pay attention to when the trend starts to reverse. So, you know, that's a good trade. The stock is closing a high of day, so I'm hoping to have something good come towards it, come of it tomorrow morning. So we'll see what happens.